Right, I'm in the UK, both for work and to see some friends, but also because we've got some guests in the chateau, which is really, really nice. Anyway, before we jump into this video, I just thought I'd give you a little update on the timings, because when we started this project, it was actually quite a long time ago. It was probably about 2 years ago when we first started sanding the floor of the dining room, and then we left it for quite a long time, and then we came back to it, did a bit more sanding around the edges, and then we varnished the floor, and then we paused it again, and then we started again when Chateau DIY picked up the project with us. But rather than release all of that content in a piecemeal fashion, we've pulled it all together into this video, or this little video series. There'll probably be 2 or maybe even 3 videos of the dining room project. So we're quite excited about this one because before it was bright yellow and it just wasn't really to our taste, and we completely transformed the dining room. But we're also, again, we were quite bold in our colour choices. But yeah, it was quite a long time ago when we started, and it was actually probably about a year ago when we finished. But because we've been waiting for the Chateau DIY episodes to go live on TV, we couldn't upload this video until that had happened. So if you're in the UK, you can watch the Chateau DIY episodes on Channel 4. If you're in other countries, you'll just have to wait a little bit longer, but never fear, because you've got this fantastic video where we'll be deep diving into this project in a lot more detail, and you can see a lot more about the processes that we went through when we were doing this project. So yeah, it was quite a good fun one, I thought. So if you, I hope you enjoy watching it, and if you do click the little thumbs up button, and if you're not already a subscriber, do consider clicking the little subscribe button down below, because then you'll get reminders when we upload videos, which at the moment it's about every 3 weeks. Hopefully we'll try and speed that up a little bit, but for the moment it's all we can manage. So thank you very much for your patience, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. We are exhausted after a really long day sanding the floor, but we finished now, which is really good. And the next bit is a bit more fun because we're going to be putting on some of Mylan's, I think it's dark oak dye, which is a really rich dark dye. And we're going to be putting it straight on the wood, which is a bit of a bold choice because we want it to be as dark as possible. And then we're going to mix the Mylan's varnish with more dye and put that on top, and that'll give it a really glossy finish, but it'll also mean it's really, really dark. So it's a bit bold, but it's the look we're going for, and I'm quite excited to see what it looks like.
So I am just getting the first coat of varnish on the dining room floor, which is very, very exciting. It's scarily dark when you put the stain on, but actually once you've got some varnish on, it starts to look much better. These hairs are a nightmare. A lot of them are from the brush, but nearly there now. I have been putting all of the hairs out towards the door whilst varnishing the floor, and you know what, it looks pretty good. Quite excited about what it's going to look like when it's dry, especially once we've sanded it down, polished it again, sanded it down again, done it again with 3 coats.
No!
I have sanded down the floor, given it a light little sanding. Now it's putting on the second coat. I've just added a little tint of the stain this time because we've already got those on the floor. But I figured it would be good to just have a little bit of the stain for some of the areas which are a little bit lighter, or where we've sort of sanded it back to the wood if they were raised. So yeah, let's crack on.
Absolutely loving the colour, and we're now on the third coat of satin water-based lacquer, and it's just looking absolutely stunning. Shame we can't do the rest of the room for another 6 months, but yeah, we'll be very happy.
Right, so we are filming again with Chateau DIY. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip all of the paint off all of the wood. We're going to build matching panelling on the other wall, and then we're going to have like a really nice sort of members club vibe, or almost like a kind of a captain's quarters. But yeah, lots of dark stained wood, nice pictures. And we're actually going to try and put a mural on the ceiling of the sky, so again it'll have this feeling of being out at sea. I think it would just be a nice theme for the room, and it should just work quite well given it's quite a dark room anyway. It doesn't get a lot of natural light in, but by leaning into the sort of the darker moodiness with clever touches, I always feel as though you can actually elevate a room and make a space really, really nice. So yeah, first job, we've got to use Kling Strip to get all of the paint off. Kling Strip is this incredible stripper which you stick it on almost like icing on a cake. And I've been doing it for 2 hours. Chris has taken over, and then yeah, you leave it on overnight with some cling film over the top, and then the next day you sort of peel off the cling film, and just with very slight kind of scraping, it peels off with all of the paint as well. So it's amazing stuff. We've used it for a few projects now, and so much better than other paint strippers that we've used. So yeah, it's just a case of getting the rest of that Kling Strip on, and then we can hopefully see the big reveal tomorrow. stripping it has turned out to be really, really, well, it just takes a long time because there's so much wood. And you've got 3 different layers of paint of all different types. There's lead paint, there's acrylic paint. And we've been using Kling Strip, which is really good at getting it off, but cleaning it up is a slow process. So we're going to lean into the natural wood look that we've got here, and we're not going to try and make it perfect, because I think it just all adds to the age and the kind of the feeling that it's sort of old and original.
And we're lazy.
And we're lazy.
The end.
Yeah. We are just making the final, well, doing the last bits of cleaning of paint off the wood. It's looking really good. It's just there's always some bits that you can't get off that are basically too far into the wood. So I think we just have to go with the look. Yeah, coming out nice.
I think this is our 4th day on all of the panelling. We're very nearly at the end now, but I am knackered. My hands are aching and it's dusty work.
So we finally finished stripping all of the paint off the panelling in the dining room, and it looks incredible. And we're so lucky because it's a really choresome job, but made so much easier because we had this great stuff called Kling Strip, which we haven't been paid to advertise it, but they did very, very kindly donate us some of the Kling Strip to use, and it is definitely like the easiest way to get paint off. You can use things like torches, but it risks setting a fire, and if you've got lead paint, that is really, really dangerous because it can put lead paint fumes up in the air. You can use all sorts of sanding, but again, there's real risks with lead paint. The easiest way is using Kling Strip because you kind of put it on a little bit like icing on a cake, and then you cover it in cling film, leave it for, well, overnight or 24 hours, and then the next morning you can basically just peel it off and it brings all of the paint with it. There's still, when you've got very fiddly bits of work, some cleaning up to do. So it wasn't like a total doddle, but it was made an awful lot easier. And I've done paint stripping before with other products and it took twice as long. So I definitely recommend it. And it's quite easy to get. Just Google Kling Strip and you'll be able to buy it online or in a lot of DIY shops as well. Right, so we finished stripping all of the paint off the woodwork on that side of the room. So all of the panelling and the cupboards are now stripped. And next up, we're going to be starting to build new panelling to go on that side of the dining room.
So this should be a little bit more fun because the paint stripping's a bit of a slow and tedious job, even though we've sort of found some really good ways of doing it.
So I don't actually own a track saw yet. It's something I hope to invest in at some point. But I've got the actual track saw guide, which I sometimes use for the router, and I'm going to use it for this, and then basically just run the circular saw along the side of it, which is kind of using it as a guide. It's obviously not as secure as if it was properly mounted into the guide, but it's my bodge job until I can afford a real track saw.